evening, friends. Let me thank my dear friend, the former President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Atul Gupta ji, and all his colleagues for organizing this very, very important program. I would say through this program and by organizing so many of you on a common platform, you have laid the foundation. It is not CSR research foundation, but I would say you have laid the foundation as to what we should be really doing to address several socio-economic challenges that the world is facing today. And if I want to list all the challenges, then I will request Atul Gupta ji to organize this program for 1 week, and I will to speak for 1 week, because there are so many global challenges. So let us not expand the global challenges more. And therefore you are focused on one of the biggest global challenge that we are facing, and that is the issue of climate change. We all are the victims of climate change. There are so many angles to climate change. One is the politics of climate change. When I say politics, it means that the world is struggling for last more than almost 3 decades to find a solution and the action. Forget a solution, solution the node. The action to be taken on climate change. But then, when you talk about action, everybody says, yes, action is necessary, but you do it. I will not do anything, you do it. Like for example, in city of Delhi, everyone wants city to be clean. I just came today from Indore, and that is the cleanest city of India. But in Delhi, if you want to clean the city, they'll say we need garbage boxes for sure. But you'll say yes, but garbage box की बहुत जरूरत है, उसके लिए आंदोलन भी करेंगे. But इनके घर के सामने रखिए, मेरे घर के सामने नहीं होना चाहिए. So climate change is like that. The politics of climate change is that action is necessary, it should have been taken yesterday, but I will not do it, you do it. And that's politics. And that's why recently COP26 took place. This is all the COPs are taking place every year. This time it was delayed. And I have led India's delegation many times on these COPs, so I have participated in almost all COPs. And there this politics happens, finger pointing, blaming, but no action. बात तो बहुत लंबी लंबी अच्छी बात सब लोग करते हैं. तो बात सुनने के बाद लगा कि वर्ल्ड कितना अच्छा होने वाला है, और हो भी गया है कितनी बात सुनने के बाद. But nothing happens. And that's the politics of climate change. Then there is the science of climate change. And IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, has already identified the causes of climate change, the action to be taken also. And then there is a very top class, best of the minds in the world, leaving politics out, have also charted out the action that is necessary. That includes one of the top brain, Lord Nicholas Stern, who is to be the chief economist of the World Bank, currently member of the House of Lords in UK, and also my guide because he is the director of London School of Economics for Climate Change, and he has invited me to be a visiting professor, and I accepted it. So I am going to be visiting professor. प्रोफेसर को अच्छा है, प्रोफेस करना है, काम नहीं करना है. प्रोफेसर, प्रोफेस. So that is not the job that professor does, but I am saying normally in life, we profess, but don't do anything, profess. Confess नहीं करेंगे, profess करेंगे. So he, including Lord Nicholas Stern, have identified what is really necessary. So that is called the science of climate change. And then there is what could be done to address it. There are many ways of doing it. Climate change is caused and results in greenhouse gas emission. The cause of greenhouse gas emission, quite a few. Land use change is the cause of greenhouse gas emission. The nature had created an ecosystem. We do mining, so we change the land use pattern. So land use change itself is a cause of climate change. Agriculture, to some extent, is also a cause of climate change. Dairying, also cause of climate change, because it emits methane. It is one of the greenhouse gases. But one of the main cause of climate change is fossil fuel energy. Coal, gas, all of this contribute to climate change. Oil. And that, to address it, I'm not even going into the effect of climate change. That is so disastrous that let us not talk about it, because let us enjoy whatever time is left for us in the next few decades. That's all. Then we are going anyway, because we are hell-bent on finishing ourselves as early as possible. बोलते इतना देर क्यों रखने का, 5 वो लोग बोलते हैं ना, अभी लाइफ सपोर्ट सिस्टम निकाल दे तो जल्दी चला जाएगा. So I think we want to take away the life support system provided by nature. That's the life support system. उसको निकाल के जल्दी ही ऊपर जाएंगे. That is how now all the humanity is working on. But while we do all this, so I'm not going into even the effect of climate change, etc., or even the real causes of climate change, but let us confine to what you are decided on this 9 National Summit on 4 key important things. Green hydrogen, EV, that is electric vehicles, ESG. ESG I would not say is an action really, but biofuels and many others. All of this, barring ESG, will contribute to using some source of energy, but not necessarily emitting greenhouse gases as a result of use of that energy. Let's take EV. One of the main cause of, particularly in Delhi also, not just climate change, but even local problem. Climate change is a global problem. In Delhi, the ambient air quality is so badly affected. Most of it happens because of vehicular pollution. And what is the cause of vehicular pollution? The kind of fuel you use. So mobility requires fuel, and the kind of fuel you are going to use will decide whether you are going to have clean air. And of course climate change is a much larger issue, but even locally, related to only Delhi, whether we'll have clean air or not. So electric vehicles offer that opportunity. That vehicles will not work, they don't need liquid fuel, they can work on electric vehicle. But you must remember that electric vehicle will run on what? Electricity. So electricity आप कैसे generate करेंगे? वो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी कोल से, हमारी 60-70% ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिसिटी इन इंडिया इज जनरेटेड बाय कोल. आप वो भी कोल से जनरेट करके यहाँ लगाएंगे तो वी आर सेइंग वो क्या, वो मैं दारू पीता हूँ लेकिन ग्लास में वो मिल्क वाला ग्लास यूज करता हूँ, तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. मिल्क बॉटल में मैं दारू पीता हूँ, इसके लिए कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. दारू प्रॉब्लम है लेकिन मिल्क तो अच्छा है, डॉक्टर बोलते हैं मिल्क अच्छा है, तो मैंने मिल्क बॉटल में लेने की शुरुआत की, तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं अभी. So electric vehicle in itself will not serve the purpose unless the cost, the source of electricity itself is changed. But now there is an opportunity. We can make electric vehicles work on solar energy. जो charging station है, we can use solar energy, and that can actually address this issue. But the challenge is in this, particularly on EV. EV is required for 2-wheelers, 3-wheelers, 4-wheelers, heavy duty vehicles, everything is the battery. You cannot use, अभी आपके पास मोबाइल है, मेरा उधर है, ठीक है, आपके पास मोबाइल है, लेकिन मोबाइल, the best of model in mobile, अभी कोई आता है मेरे को भी इतना, आई यूज मोबाइल नॉट फॉर शो, आई यूज इट फॉर फंक्शनलिटी, सो आई डोंट नो व्हाट इज द लेटेस्ट वॉट एवर, बट सपोज यू टेक द बेस्ट ऑफ मोबाइल फोन, बट बैटरी चल नहीं रही तो मोबाइल विल नॉट वर्क. So same way electric vehicles will not work unless there is a battery storage. So biggest challenge in electric vehicle is the storage. Battery. Battery stores electricity. So how are we going to work on that is going to be important, but it's a very important aspect of that. Then biofuels, and that's what I was saying, that biofuels are required, which are liquid fuels. As we need coal, we also need liquid fuels for many things. Of course for vehicular traffic for sure, but for many things we require liquid fuels. And the biofuels offers a great opportunity. But again I am telling you because we should not marry in a haste and repent at leisure. चक मंगनी पट विवाह तो हो गया, बाद में आप तो सब चार्टर होने, फिर लॉयर को ढूंढते ढूंढते हमारा ज़िंदगी चला जाएगा कि अभी भाई उसे कैसे छुटकारा को दिलाइए. सो ये ना होने के लिए यू मस्ट बी श्योर बट व्हाट यू आर डूइंग शुड नॉट क्रिएट मोर प्रॉब्लम्स. सो लिक्विड फ्यूल और अगर सॉरी बायोफ्यूल्स is a good solution provided how are you going to produce biofuels. Are they synthetic or not? For example, Brazil is one of the big producers of biofuels, ethanol. But to produce biofuel, and that's why I'm saying how are you producing it. Let me take one example of traditional conventional way of producing it. If you are producing fuels by plantation and then incinerating it, burning it and trying to create fuel out of it, how much water will be required? So you are only now stop burning fuel, but you are burning water in reality. इतने हमारे वर्ल्ड में पानी है कि नहीं है उसके बारे में भी सोचना चाहिए. इंडिया में 4% ऑफ द फ्रेश वाटर ऑफ द वर्ल्ड इज अवेलेबल इन इंडिया, ओनली 4%. और क्या है, हम लोग बोलते हैं वर्ल्ड में नंबर 1 होना चाहिए. सो वी आर फास्ट मार्चिंग टुवर्ड बिकमिंग नंबर 1 इन वर्ल्ड पॉपुलेशन. सो वी आर ऑलरेडी 17% ऑफ द पॉपुलेशन, बट स्टिल वी आर नॉट हैप्पी. हमको ज़्यादा और भी बढ़ाना चाहिए क्योंकि नंबर 1 तो होना चाहिए, कोई दूसरा कोई नज़दीक भी नहीं आना चाहिए. इसके लिए वी आर मार्चिंग फास्ट. So 17% of the population with only 4% of the water resources. And if you convert that water for making biofuels, besides land, what would be the impact of that? So you have to think about all the issue through and through. It might address climate change but create water security. In any case, climate change is also create biggest problem is on water. Because climate change is affecting the nature cycle. And the only way you can get water is not in a laboratory, but by cycle of nature. So वो डिस्टर्ब हो रहा है तो अभी पानी का बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम. दैट्स अ श्योर इम्पैक्ट ऑफ क्लाइमेट चेंज. मैं इसके लिए बोला था इम्पैक्ट के ऊपर मैं जाता ही नहीं हूँ, नहीं तो और एक 15-20 दिन चले जाएंगे. और वैसे भी हमारे पास एज आई वाज सेइंग वी हैव ओनली फ्यू डिकेड्स लेफ्ट. उससे 15-20 दिन पानी की चर्चा क्यों करें, बाद में पानी नहीं मिलने से भी लोग जाने वाले ही है. सो आई एम जस्ट नॉट टेलिंग यू एनीथिंग अबाउट इट, बट आई एम जस्ट सेइंग how you produce biofuel is going to be very important. There are many ways of doing it. So again, I am not getting into it because that will take another few days. So it is very important that you have to work on EV, biofuels, और क्या है green hydrogen. That's a very important aspect. In fact, that's a cutting edge. But again, I am not trying to be prophet of doom, but also cautioning. How do you make hydrogen? Hydrogen has a nexus with water. So we have to develop ideas which will work on addressing the challenges in a way that will not create more problems. I don't know, you are all chartered accountants, right? Most of you, if not all. Chartered accountant ज़्यादा है ना? But I don't know whether the young girls, they are any one of them from human resource. HR से कोई नहीं आया होगा ना, because इसमें नहीं होगा. ये बॉम्बे से भी, अहमदाबाद से भी है, और ONGC के लोग हैं, बीपीसीएल सब. नहीं कोई बात नहीं, आप बीपीसीएल से. आप यू आर नॉट फ्रॉम बीपीसी ना?
नहीं
नहीं कोई नहीं, ऐसे जस्ट जानकारी के लिए. सो समझो एचआर के कोई लोग होंगे तो समझ पाएंगे कि कुछ ने बोला एक कल ये बहुत आदमी काम पे नहीं आता आजकल, उसको निकाल देंगे. सो एचआर ने बोला बहुत सर नो प्रॉब्लम, आई इशू चार्जशीट वगैरह करके निकाल देते हैं. उसके बाद में यूनियनाइज इशू हो गया. सो उसने बोला एक आदमी को निकाल के हो गया, अभी एक बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम खड़ा हो गया. सो सॉल्विंग अ प्रॉब्लम हैज़ क्रिएटेड मोर प्रॉब्लम्स. सो इसके लिए वी शुड नॉट सॉल्व द क्लाइमेट चेंज प्रॉब्लम इन अ वे दैट बाय डूइंग सिंपलिस्टिक सोल्यूशन. आई गिव एन एग्जाम्पल, technical example. When we had Montreal Protocol, that was to solve the ozone depleting substances. Ozone were depleting. So the Montreal Protocol was aimed at replacing ODS, that ozone depleting substances, with non-ODS. So they came out with one ODS, non-ODS, which was not causing, which was solving this ozone problem, but created, this was one of the greenhouse gases. So hydrogen is a futuristic idea, and I fully agree with it. And we should call it green hydrogen is the right way. Some people even think of blue hydrogen. But green hydrogen is a real good solution for many of these things. And that can actually help in solving energy problem. Because one of the biggest challenge for the world is to address energy issues. आज अभी ऑयल 99 तक गया है, वहाँ जाने तक 100 शायद पहुँच भी जाएगा. मैं गाड़ी में बैठूंगा तब तक कितना होगा मालूम नहीं है. बट दिस इज बिकॉज ऑफ यूक्रेन एंड रशियाज प्रॉब्लम. सो दिस इज लाइक अनदर वर्ल्ड वॉर ऑफ अ कोल्ड वर्ल्ड वॉर. वहाँ भी वैसे भी कोल्ड बहुत है, लेकिन सब जगह में हीट पैदा हुई है उसकी वजह से. बट ऑयल इज कॉज ऑफ क्लाइमेट चेंज, but also a cause of geopolitical trouble, energy security issue. So for us, we should have an energy policy. Thanks to Prime Minister Modi, we have worked on a very good changing energy mix in a significant way. Energy profile of India is changing, and we are getting more and more renewable energy into energy mix. That's a very good thing. But hydrogen and green hydrogen can actually help us to address this problem in a very effective way. Now, आप सब बात भी कर रहे थे और भी करने वाले होंगे, तो मैं ज़्यादा बात नहीं करता हूँ. बट टॉकिंग अबाउट ESG, एक्चुअली बिकॉज माई डियर फ्रेंड गुप्ता जी डिड अ वंडरफुल जॉब एज अ प्रेसिडेंट, दो इस प्रेसिडेंसी कोइंसाइडेड विथ पैंडेमिक, फिर भी उन्होंने बहुत अच्छा काम किया. उनके टाइम पे ही रियली टूक इंस्टीट्यूट ग्लोबली, बहुत सारे चैप्टर्स भी खोले हैं, बहुत काम किया. And a very genuine work, and I've seen his work even earlier as a vice president. So I'm glad that he's working on this new initiative, which I fully support and welcome. But I think while walking in, he just told me he's also done ESG Foundation, right? So ESG is the, आप सब चार्टर अकाउंटेंट है, वैसे मैं भी हूँ, लेकिन मैं आपके इतना इंटेलिजेंट चार्टर अकाउंटेंट नहीं हूँ. सो उसमें दो ही है अभी, ACA, FCA. तो आई एम अनइंटेलिजेंट CA. सो इसमें ESG will get all those companies who are non-ESG compliant will find it extremely difficult to get funding. If I am not mistaken, because I was recently in a global conference, I was involved in 16 global organizations. So मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन है कि इसको कुछ जानकारी है तो मेरे को बुलाते रहते हैं, उनको अभी भी पता नहीं है कि मेरे को कुछ जानकारी नहीं है. सो वन ऑफ दैट इंटरेस्टिंग फीचर ऑफ दिस इज दैट several trillion dollars, probably 30-40 trillion dollars will be the funds and assets under management. And that means, and that will going to increase. So by another 30, 20, 25 years, we'll see most of them. If I'm not mistaken, even Switzerland, I think one of your sponsors, Switzerland, you know, Switzerland government was thinking of making a law that all those funds which are registered in Switzerland, they can invest only in ESG compliant organizations. Can you imagine a law like this? So that means You are not investing into ESG company if you are registered in Switzerland, would mean that you are committing breach of law. So you can be prosecuted. So that to that extent ESG is now taking a new turn. And therefore ESG is the best way, and we are right in putting it into climate change related issues, because ESG would ensure that new investment that are going to come in, either in equity or even in debt, have to be in such companies and such activities that would ensure that issues like climate change are properly addressed. And as I told you, the mind-boggling numbers. Tens of trillions of dollars will be invested into ESG globally. And therefore, if you are thinking, वो हमारा कुछ नहीं, हमको तो we are strong India, हमको कोई कुछ कर नहीं सकता, ऐसा नहीं सोचना चाहिए. We have to think in, we have to align ourselves to what is happening globally, and the global priorities and our action should be coordinated. And therefore, I am very happy that you have put all these issues into place in the same place. So I would stop, because I know there are so many others will be speaking. I was not in Delhi because I came in the afternoon. Then I had to attend 2-3 meetings, but I couldn't say no to my dear friend Atul Gupta ji. So thank you very much for organizing the event, and thank you more for inviting.